Okay, I'm not even going to tell you how many times I started this time. I'm just going to get to the point. Folks, I see what's happening. Do you? Do you see what's happening? Food is getting more scarce all the time. And I know there's still food in the stores. We're doing good right at the moment. But I'm going to tell you something. I think in a couple months, we're going to have some real major issues. I'm also thinking about leaving the country because of what they're doing with the data centers. And they're some of them people, the people in the government, they're leaving the country too. They know something's up. They know something's coming. They know chaos is coming. They're supposed to have chaos in this country. That's the plan, Stan. You know what I'm saying? They plan on bringing this country down. And it's the only one left where people can have the pew-pews that I know of. But every other country, most of the countries, the criminals still have guns, but the people don't. Well, I found a few other countries that have rare violent crimes, and even in a couple of them, petty theft is almost nothing. And I'm thinking about moving to one. I'd rather have a wife here because I thought, well, God put me here. But in the last 3 years or so, I'm thinking, well, I kept saying something like, you just come out of my mouth. Well, if I'm not here, Lord, please bless the people who ever end up here. So I don't know. Maybe I was just supposed to come here and build this like this and then leave it. And then just trust him. I don't know. But I really would like a wife. And I'm 67. And it won't be long. And it won't be necessary anymore now, will it? But I would like to have a wife because guess what? I've been alone most of my life. I've been alone most of my life. I've had wives in the past. I haven't had one for, I don't know, quite a few years. But folks, get yourself ready. Grow food. Get books, not something digital. Get books. Paper paged books on wild foods. I've got some. And I have a paper Bible too. I don't have a Bible app. Because guess what? When there's no internet, you can't get to it anyway. What are you going to do? I mean, someone in Alaska years ago ate wild potatoes. Well, he died. Because wild potatoes, at least those ones, are poisonous. You got to know what you can eat and what you can't. What's medicine and what's food. Because like pokeweed, you can eat it, but you have to boil it 3 times, throw out the water. And pokeberries are medicine. That's why people died from them, because they ate a bunch thinking, well, you know, I wanted some of these. And then they died because they OD'd is what happened. Aspirin you can get from a cherry tree and a willow tree. You know, there's red and white oak acorns. Now the white oak ones are more mapley. The red acorns, they say you got to boil them a few times and throw out the water to get the tannins out, or soak them in salt 3, 4, 5 times, whatever it takes, till the water becomes from coffee when you're dumping it out of what it looks like to clear. And you can salt them and eat them like nuts, or you can grind them up for flour. Folks, prices are going outrageous. You know, I told people we were in the tribulation. I'm telling you, we're there. The white horse locked down all the countries. Red horse is wars, and it's escalating. Even today, it's escalating as we speak, as I'm doing this video. And then we've got hyperinflation, the black horse. Remember with the scales? You know, a day's wages for a quart of wheat and a day's wages for a quart of barley or 3/4 of barley. That kind of thing is hyperinflation. You know what's next at the gate, don't you? Famine, pestilence, and disease. The famine's already begun. It just hasn't reached you yet. But when people start not having food, and good food, because you know they're putting manufactured food in the stores, right? You do know that, right? If you don't, look it up. Start paying attention. Meat isn't meat anymore. I used to be able to buy a steak and eat it and could eat it with my dentures. Lately, I haven't been able to do that. It's so damn tough, I can't even cut it with a knife, a sharp knife. Some of it you can. Folks, nothing's real, but the spiritual is. And we're in a spiritual war. And that's what somebody's going to say in this video too. This is spiritual. This has nothing to do with humans against humans. It's spiritual. And if a human is against you, outrageous and just off the chain, a demon is running that person. I don't care if it's a male or female. A demon is running that person. And sometimes, if you catch it, like I did, one of my wives had black eyes and no whites in the eyes all of a sudden. And a different wife that I had was talking to demons through a door and thought it was me, but I wasn't even near there. And then stuff started happening, and she thought it was funny. It's not funny, folks. It's not funny. And if you ever see these things, because I've seen two different types, they are ugly, and you cannot unsee what you see. And another thing that comes with that, it's not just what you see that makes you fear. Somehow, fear comes over you before you even see these things. And then they're there. And if you get paralyzed, like I've been paralyzed, now I haven't since 2018. But just like I told the woman that said, well, the demons, you know, I said, you got to get them out, get them away from you. You have the authority. Oh, they've taken over. They can't take over what you don't give them. Folks, pay attention. And it's already 7 minutes, I think, into this. Yeah, 8 minutes now. So, folks, I love you all. I care for you all. I want you to listen to this. And I'll redo something, and I'll put something similar up. I'll just keep pounding you, because I'm telling you, I'm trying to save your life, your spiritual life. And you're going to have to, like I am too, we have to get the fact that if we die, we die, and the fear of death has to be eliminated so that we move on to do what God wants us to do and forget about this life, because it's going to end anyway, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. You might transfer in from this life to the next life if Jesus comes back while you're still alive. But great, but well, what if that doesn't happen? They might come to your door and take your food, and they might even come to your door and take you and your family and your wife and your kid and do things that you didn't think they would do in front of you. I've seen people do this stuff. Well, I haven't seen it myself personally, but I've seen where people have told me that what they've seen, and it's horrifying. I'm telling you, folks, if you think this is bad, it's nothing compared to what's going to be. Get ready, folks. Now, I'm going to start the video. I might be in between some of them, and I might not. But watch all of it, because I seen an hour and a half video, and the average view was 26 minutes. And it was somebody else. It was Tyler Wood's video. And everybody, oh, we like that Tyler Wood. Really? How come you're not watching all the way through then? Folks, I'm telling you. Get ready. Pay attention. Watch what's important and get the damn junk out of your life. Because this entertainment doesn't matter anymore. Don't you think? I'm out.
So many times you reached out to me, but I turned my back 'cause I didn't think you had what I need. But now you're everything. You're everything to me, and I can't be without you, God. You're everything, and I want to say thank you. I was lost and you found me. I was dead inside and you breathed into me, and you brought these bones to life. I want to say thank you. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for loving me unconditionally, God. You stood with open arms, but I ran away, 'cause I was scared of the pain that came with trust. But I came running back into your embrace, because I knew you'd still be there. You'd never leave me, God. And I want to say thank you. I was lost and you found me. I was dead inside and you breathed into me, and you brought these bones to life. I want to say thank you. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for loving me unconditionally, God. And I don't deserve you, God. I don't deserve you, God. But you keep on loving me anyway. Oh, you'd never stop loving me, God. Now I want to say thank you. I was lost and you found me. I was dead inside and you breathed into me, and you brought these bones to life. I want to say thank you. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for loving me unconditionally, God. Oh, thank you.
Individual. So church, the tension is real, and it's just getting started. It's just getting started. Wait till it comes here. You guys understand this is like white horse, red horse, black horse, green horse stuff starting. Global hyperinflation. You don't take out the oil pipeline in Saudi Arabia last night and shut down the Strait of Hormuz and not have global hyperinflation. This is all going according to plan for the Great Reset. Everybody tracking? There's actually that's rumor intelligence, that this was agreed upon. What's happening was actually pre-agreed upon. There's some mutual exchange between the U.S. Israel ilk and the Iranian, Persian, Middle Eastern ilk, and they're all in agreement to walk this thing out. That's why they're taking the hits, and all the Arab neighbors are taking the hits, because it's about the Great Reset. And they got to jack the oil on purpose to hyperinflate everything, because everything has to be transported. That's your red horse, then you get your black horse, and then you get your green horse. It's happening. So what? So we must know our God. We have to know our God and know that we have a hope that will never disappoint. Some of you are taking hits financially. Not diminishing it. So what? Don't you know that I've never seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging for bread? Don't you know that no one whose hope is in the Lord will ever be ashamed? Their faces are automatically radiant. Don't you know that those whose hope is in the Lord will renew their strength? It's a certainty. Don't we know these things, church? Man, we're getting hammered. We shouldn't be getting hammered that hard when we know our God. Tension, yes. Hope, consummate hope, because of consummate victory at the exact same time. So bless the Lord in your hearts. Bless the Lord in your internal monologue. Bless the Lord in the meditations of your thoughts. Bless the Lord in your goings and your comings. Bless the Lord, O my soul, because he's been very good to you. And he has caused your boundary lines to fall in pleasant places, right smack amid the hostile territory. That's a wrap.
I want you to pray for our farmers. You know, I think we lost a lot of who we were when we moved off the farms. You know, when you live on a farm, you don't have to explain sex to your kids, because what is that cow doing to that cow? I mean, it's pretty clear. It is pretty clear. Everything makes sense. The circle of life makes sense. You know, you're facing death a lot all the time because you're seeing the circle of life with your animals. You understand that you can do absolutely everything right and still fail because it didn't rain. Something happened. Your crop can go out and your neighbor's crop can be fine. That teaches you compassion. That teaches you, hey, love your neighbor. You really need to help your neighbor out, because you know what? There's going to come a time where your crop fails and theirs is doing fine. And so help each other. We've lost so much because we've lost the connection to our farms and our farmlands. And I think that's when America really started to hurt and really significantly change. And now we're living in a time where nobody knows where their food even comes from. We don't even know it's real anymore when it comes to our food. But right now, there are farmers that are firing up their tractors and heading out into the fields for spring planting. And a monster drought has swallowed 60% of the lower 48 states. You haven't heard about this, but it is true. The NOAA maps don't lie. The South is baked: sugarcane, rice, peanuts, fruit trees, choking under severe, extreme, and even exceptional drought. Out in the plains, where that's our bread basket, winter wheat is sitting in dust. It can't germinate because it doesn't have the water. In the West, the mountain snowpack is vanishing before our eyes. I mean, I am shocked. I'm here in the Mountain West, and we normally have snow up on the mountains all around me. We don't have snow. I mean, we have some and really high elevations, but usually on the mountain right behind my ranch, we have snow up there at this time. It snowed yesterday, but nothing stuck because it's too warm. So you don't have that snow. And now, at least here in Idaho, cutbacks on water are already being talked about. They're being ordered along the Colorado River. In Washington State, the Yakima Basin, which has a lot of our food up there. And ranchers are staring at pastures now that they won't grow. The pastures are, the cattle herd is already the smallest it's been since the 1950s. And it's not happening in a vacuum. Farmers have been hammered for years for the skyrocketing fertilizer prices that happened, remember, after COVID, diesel costs that have taken their profit margin and just squeezed everything out of it, supply chain chaos, one hit after another hit after another hit has kept these guys barely hanging on. And now we have another fertilizer hit. And now pile the drought on top of that. The math is brutal. Math is math. Food costs are going up, and not a little, a lot. Beef, grains, produce, everything that comes from the fields all across our fruited plain, it's going to cost more at the grocery store, and it's coming sooner and faster than most people want to even admit. So I ask, because what we do in our community, we have faced droughts up here in this small little farming community, and every church from the pulpit is saying, fast and pray for rain. And I'm telling you, it works. I'm asking you to fast and pray for rain all across the country. I'm asking you to fast and pray for our farmers, because our farmers are under extreme stress. You don't think you care about the farmer? Wait until you can't eat. Wait until you have a problem with a dust bowl. Wait until you can't afford food, even more than you can't afford it right now. You care about the farmers. You just don't see farmers, but they are probably the most important cog in the chain of this machinery. The other thing I want to tell you is you got to stop depending on this system. You have to spit yourself out of this system. It is cracking under the weight of weather or war or economics. I have to tell you, I'm going to tell you something about the Fed on Monday that is just shocking and horrifying. Just horrifying. And it'll explain an awful lot of stuff, but it'll also tell you what's coming. It is really important that you become food independent as possible. If you don't have food storage, you should. If you have a scrap of yard, plant a garden this spring. Tomatoes, beans, potatoes, greens, anything you can grow, anything. If you don't have space or you've never done it before, go start talking to your neighbors. Start a neighborhood garden. Share the work, share the harvest, share the knowledge. Get your kids involved. Put up what you grow. It's not enough to have just a whole bunch of beans. Stock it up. Learn how to preserve it. Stock a little extra when you can. Prepare. Because this isn't just about rain or fertilizer prices, market prices. It's not. It's really not. We are in a spiritual war. And I'm telling you, the very gates of hell will come against us in the days ahead. But here's what you can't forget. If you take one thing from today's show, this is it. Know who you are, know who you serve, and know how it ends. To quote Thomas Paine, heaven surely knows how to affix a proper price on something so celestial as freedom. We haven't paid a price for our freedom in a very long time, but victory is already written. This too shall pass. It always does. But now let me give you the truth that isn't just like, hey, trust in God. This is how you trust in God. This too shall pass, but it will pass a whole lot easier if we stop pulling in different directions and start sticking together. If we stop hating one another and start helping one another. If we start to get to know our neighbors and say, look, I don't care how you vote, man, but have you seen the price of food? When the shelves get thin, this too shall pass a lot easier if you've loved your neighbor and you're working together. Stand firm. Plant your seeds in the ground and plant seeds of love in your heart and in your faith and get ready because the storm is here. But so is the one who calms the storm every time. Keep your eyes on him, but put your hands onto the plow. Let's work and walk through this together. Pray for our farmers and pray for...
First, the Statue of Liberty has long stood as a symbol of freedom. Now, it's at the center of a viral storm. A dramatic AI-generated video, which has been linked to Iran's state broadcaster, shows a missile striking the monument in New York Harbor. The clip ends with the line, "One vengeance for all." It looks real, but is completely fake. The clip also moves quickly through history, showing Native American dispossession, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Vietnam War, and even conflicts in West Asia. Iran's message is that the United States is a long-time aggressor. The imagery also becomes even more provocative. The Statue of Liberty is altered its head to replaced with Baal, a biblical figure which, in an Iranian context, is often linked to false idols. It holds the Talmud, a central text in Rabbinic Judaism. In fact, there are also shots of Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and slain commander Qasem Soleimani looking towards the sky. The tone is clear: defiance and revenge.
I was caught up into the heavens and looking down on the earth like a globe. Then something else caught my attention. I began to see radio towers going up all across the nation. And these radio towers, as they went up, the dotted lines began going out as though they were transmitting. And then there was an alarm went off in me. They're sounding the alarm. We're going to be under attack. The siege is laid. When all of a sudden I was watching these radio dots going out like the transmitting of a warning, and instead of the people being warned, they sprinkled to the ground like dust. And an alarm went off in me, and I cried out in the heavens, and I said, "Oh God, they won't even know what hit them." And at that time, all of a sudden, I looked down on the eastern seaboard at the submarine was drawn to that one right off from New York City. And I saw the missile come right out of that submarine and go right up and come right over the city of New York, and the entire city disappeared. Then I looked down toward Florida. And down there, I could see another explosion take place. I looked across, because of my family being in the Pacific Northwest, I looked across, another explosion took place up by Seattle, Bellevue. And then another one down by San Francisco, and another one down toward Los Angeles, and another one toward San Diego. And there I stood in shock as I was watching these explosions take place and these cities literally disappearing from off the face of the earth. And I found myself saying this: "Oh God, if this has not happened, what will be the sign of it and of its time?" And God spoke to my spirit, and these were the words He said: "When Russia opens her gates and lets the masses go, the free world will occupy themselves with transporting, housing, and caring for the masses. Will begin letting their weapons down, crying peace and safety. And that's when it will happen."
And it's exactly like Jesus Christ said. What more proof do you need that the Lord is coming? And the Lord had told me that to make a video and say, "Tell America thy fall shall be furious." And when you look that word fury up, it's a word of anger and like violence, extreme anger. And so what the Lord had shown me in 2012 was the United States gets attacked with nuclear weapons. And so what the Lord showed me was 5 missiles or 6 missiles launched out of these ships. There were 5 ships, 6 cities were hit that I saw. I saw the ships hit Central Florida on the west coast. You know, Florida's a peninsula, it sticks out there. And then I saw the next one hit, and it hit Manhattan area of New York, and it obliterated New York. The buildings were knocked over, everything. It was really bad.
And I could see all of a sudden just this huge mushroom cloud go up. And I told everyone, turn around and look what's going on. And we all watched in awe through the window there, this huge mushroom cloud on the horizon. So we all ran outside to watch it. It's just shock. It's just shock. Everything that people have talked about, you see in the movies, we were watching it, and it felt like we were right there watching it in real life. You know, it's a dream, of course, but it felt so real. So we're watching this thing, and we're watching this mushroom cloud go off. Indications where it looked like north from where we were. But anyway, it didn't matter because another one went off. It turned our attention to, you know, another direction, and we watched that one. Now there's 2. but then another one went off, a third, and then a fourth, and then a fifth, and then a sixth. It seemed to be where it stopped at 6. Like 6 cities were hit. I don't know if it's 6 exactly. Did it mean 6 are going to be hit? But one thing is for sure, it's all happened one day. Just an attack one day, boom, 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 multiple cities were hit. So
as I'm going up the hill, this red light and smoke just rolls up over, just came up over the hill, and I knew it was a nuclear bomb I was driving right into. A nuclear bomb just went off just over this hill on the other side, and it was coming over, and it was so real. And for a second, I had fear. I was like, "This is really happening." Okay, here I go. I'm coming home to you, Father. And that's exact. I did not think for a second that it was a dream. I thought this was really happening. It was so real.
And then the Lord spoke audibly from the sky to all the people of the earth. It was coming down. His voice was loud and it shook like an earthquake. And he said, "Many of you will die in this event. Your leaders will be removed. Are you ready for the marriage?" And bombs started dropping more than I could count. I looked up to see who was coming in after us after the bombs slowed down. I saw people jumping out of planes or helicopters. Okay, they were in full army gear, and there was flags flying up behind their chute. They were red, white, and blue, or blue, white, and red, just 3 stripes. And at that time, I didn't know what a Russian flag looked like, but it was a Russian flag.
So in the dream, I was standing on a high cliff. I was at the edge of a high cliff, and I was overlooking a map of America, the United States of America. So all the states were outlined just as you would see on Google Maps or whatever. All of a sudden, I see a nuke drop on the state of Washington. So right at the corner of our country, a nuke and it was lime green in color. It drops and it had this ripple effect.
My daughter said she had a bad dream last night. She's 7 years old. So I said, "Well, what was the dream about?" And she said, "I had a dream that Putin threw a bunch of nuclear missiles at America."
I saw the first nuclear warhead. It landed on the USA, and it was on the East Coast. If I had to point out where it was around New York, Pennsylvania, DC, that entire area. I just saw a huge nuclear blast go off, and it wiped that entire section of the map off. And then instantly again, I saw on the left, the entire West Coast was completely blasted. I just saw, the nuclear warheads, the radius of the blast just blasting off from Washington down all the way to California.
It's coming. Guaranteed coming. The reason I know it's coming because I had the same dreams. I've had dreams. I've had at least 3 good dreams of a nuclear bomb destroying a city. I seen a city like LA decimated, destroyed, like ashes. You know what I mean? It says in the Bible that people will toss their gold in the streets because they can't eat it. It's gonna be that bad. So, it means nothing, you guys. God is coming so soon, and we are judged. America is judged. It's a wrap. There's nothing we can do. All we can do is pray for our families and our loved ones to get saved and to get right with the Lord, but America's under judgment.
And while I was in the store, I began to hear over the speakers the warning of nuclear war that had just started. And then I woke up.
Oh yeah, I had another dream last night where a nuclear bomb was going to fall onto New York City.
And the ground started shaking, and we knew immediately what it was. It was some type of nuclear war, right? And immediately I just started praying.
I also saw these silos opening up, and I saw these missiles strike their intended targets. I saw cities and explosions, mushroom clouds.
There's just like this huge explosion, and I just felt like there's just bombs dropping, and there was this one big huge bomb, like one big mushroom cloud of just fire and everything.
As I'm driving, I come up to the red light and I look behind me, and in the rearview mirror, and I see what looks like nuclear bombs just being dropped off in rapid succession in the background. And it was constantly just sweeping the entire area up until it got to me, and that's when the dream ended.
And so as soon as they said peace and safety, we all looked up to the sky. A couple moments went by, and I saw a nuclear missile flying across the sky from east to west.
And I looked up and I can see big green planes and gray planes, but they had Russian flags on the side of them. And then there was one plane that had China flags, and I seen the men jumping out of the planes like thousands of parachutes, and the missiles hit, and then people just running, and they were screaming, and then I just remember seeing mountains on fire, trees on fire, and everything, and it was crazy, man. It was crazy.
That may have been an Iranian sort of developed weapon. In the dream, I was with the missile as it was flying and during its flight, and I saw it come down through the clouds, still with it, and then I saw it striking a city, and there was a huge explosion. Could have been some sort of, atomic weapon, maybe.
Everybody's looked up at the TV, and there was a woman newscaster, anchor woman, whatever you want to call her, came on the news and said, "Attention, attention, we have just been attacked. There's been there's been multiple nuclear bombs in the United States that have been detonated." All of a sudden, right after she had said that, I looked out in the distance in the ocean and saw two huge nuclear explosions.
Where I saw a nuclear warhead coming out of the sky and exploding over a city. So when I had this dream about a nuclear attack, I was pretty serious about it. And so I got on the internet, and it turns out that on YouTube there's quite a few other people who have had a similar dream or revelation from God. So with that in mind, I need to tell you something. Now, I'm here to tell you that, number one, Jesus is the Lord. And number two, I believe that the Holy Bible is God's Word. And it says that in the end times, I will pour out my Spirit on all flesh. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. I guess that makes me an old man, but it is biblical. It is biblical to have a dream from God. So, here's the deal. Time is running out. Okay? Jesus is coming soon. And then when I look at the state of the United States of America, the love of money, the increase of wickedness, pornography, just advertising, money, the idols. For example, the NFL and the NBA are the idols. And, Wall Street and all this. And, it's kind of clear that, I almost want to say that the whore on the beast in the book of Revelation, I think that's the United States of America. And when I look at all the countries that don't like Americans anymore, all of the Middle East countries, all the Muslim nations, they just hate America, and so I'm just here to tell you, time is running out. It's time to get your life right with God and put Jesus first.
And then the last thing that I remember was I heard a voice, and I knew it wasn't the voice of God. It was the voice of Satan. It was a man's voice, but it was a very strong demonic voice. And the voice said to me, he said, "Come. This world is about to burn at 4 million degrees. You are all about to burn up." And that fast, I woke up out of my dream. And in real life, and I rolled over out of bed, and I fell, and I hit the ground, and I started crying. I said, "God, why would you show me that, Lord?" I was repenting, and then God spoke to me. He said, "John, He said, that is what the earth is going to look like when I take my people and I take my spirit and Satan is allowed to have his way. And I think it was like the world after like a nuclear explosion or something. And God said, John, I want you to tell people about this dream. And I would remember like, you know, Lord, what if they don't believe me? He said, it's not your job to make them believe you. It's your job just to tell them what I said.
All you have to do is look at the U.S. currency notes. The $100 bill has 3 layers of ink and it shows New York being destroyed by a nuclear blast. You can see the 3 layers of ink destroying the buildings. You can see the water coming between the buildings. The $10 bill, that's a tidal wave covering a 7-story building. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem will cover the city by the sea. There it is, covering a 7-story building. True Social, what does Trump know? Looks like he knows what's coming. I'll tell you what, I sent these posters to the Department of Defense, to the Department of Justice, and to different senators and Congress people. So, isn't it fascinating? Trump's True Social post matches what's on the U.S. currency and matches what Obama put in his Leave the World Behind Netflix movie showing New York being destroyed by nukes and Islam taking over. How convenient.
But I did see something. I saw, it was this huge drone, you know, up flying in the middle of nowhere, dropping off thousands of these. I have no idea what it says.
Death to America.
What?
Death to America. I mean, I don't know what the rest of this means, but this part, it definitely means death to America.
Okay, folks, you've seen that part of it. The next part mostly is about where we're headed real fast. These data centers, there's more to them than what you think. Why does the United States have 5,000 and are headed toward 12,000? Why does China only have 450? Germany only have 600. Or the maybe it's the Europe, or well, no, the UK maybe. I don't know. So I think it was Germany. Why is that? Russia has like 700 or 900. Why do we have so many? Why is that? What do you think that is for? This is Mystery Babylon. I've been telling you. For decades, I've been telling people. And I've been telling people to stock up. I started telling people there would be food shortages in 2007. In 2007, I also told people that Obama would be president, get 2 terms, and you wouldn't get rid of him before he became president. And people called me a lunatic. But then he got to be president. And people were a little bit shaken. And then he got a 2nd term. Then they were wondering, how did you know? 2005, I told people, oh, there's going to be martial law. 2010, I told a friend of mine who was a Marine, and I say was because he's dead, that they're going to take your guns. He said, out of my cold, dead fingers. I said, interesting, because the government's got a program called Cold Dead Fingers. And they're going to come and take them, and if they have to shoot you to get them, They're going to, and ask questions later. Maybe. I told people there would be ears on the street. There were, even then. I told people in 2008, I said, there's going to be cameras everywhere. You know what? I think it was August 2008 in Greenville, Michigan. They took all of Main Street's lights down, replaced them with LED traffic lights, and installed cameras. Oh, it was to catch criminals, they said. What do you think they're saying now with these flock? Oh, it's just to catch criminals. These data centers are for your safety. You got to go digital so nobody can hack your bank account. They're hacking digital. They use digital to hack digital. The criminals do. So it's not about safety. It's about control. Revelation 13, it says, and the beast was given the power to wear down the saints and overcome them. Don't you feel kind of tired, folks? Don't you feel like you can't get to sleep at night? You can sleep easy in the daytime, but then at night the high frequencies start roaming, your head, and you get restless, and you wake up for no reason, and you have to get up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, or sometimes 11 or 12, and I've been up all night long at times because of that. You're not immune, folks. Just because you have Christ doesn't mean you're immune. You will go through things. He said you would. But the fact is you got to do the best you can with what you have to work with, and that's what I do. That's why the other video, or two ago, I showed where I was using pallets to build a room, or at least the lower part. Well, actually, in that particular room, because it's so small, I got enough to, I just connect them together with screws and 2x4s, and I don't have as much material that I have to buy because they've been laying around here for 4 years, and they've been out in the weather and they just don't rot. Like OSB will, if it's laying on the ground. I'm even using that because I have nothing. I don't have enough money to go buy all new stuff. I eat wild foods. I can and dry foods. I salt cure meat. I do what I can. You do what you can, and then the Lord will take up what you can't do. That's how it works. He never tells anybody, well, you just sit there on your potato couch and drink your latte and watch your entertainment shows, and I'll do everything for you. Noah had to build the boat. Joseph had to save 7 years of grain. All over, you had to do something. The Lord always says, if you do this, I'll do that. He never says, well, I'll just take care of everything for you. And it don't matter what you do. It doesn't matter. It does matter. There are a lot of people who are going to get a rude awakening when there's no food on the shelves, because people start panicking. It only takes just a little bit of where people notice people are panicking and buying stuff, and they're going to say, well, what's going on here? I better get what I can. They're already stealing food out of stores and other things too. They're already doing it. Panicking is getting to be a daily thing for people now already. And it hasn't even just begun yet. What's going to happen when things really get chaotic? Order out of chaos, right? Isn't that what they said on the back of the dollar bill? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the eagle is not an eagle, it's a phoenix. Look at it. It looks nothing like an eagle in the beak. You got to start looking at things for yourself, folks. Get your critical thinking back that you lost in 2020. Because even before then, people started just losing their critical thinking. But boy, when 2020 hit, I will tell you what, people fell in line for the pokey poke. Well, the okey doke pokey poke's coming back again. And because so many people fell in line the first time, you think they just will not fall in line the second time? They will. They will. And when they say, okay, your money's digital, and now you got to do this to do that, to do this to get that, and you don't want to do that because you know deep down inside you shouldn't be doing that, but you got to anyway to eat. Most of you will. Some of you watching my videos will. You think you won't, but when you get backed into a corner, desperate people do desperate things. You have to now resign yourself to the fact that you might have to die for Christ. I had this thing, it was like a dream thing back in 89. I think my daughter was just born then, or just before she was born, I don't remember. Where I might die a violent death, and I got to thinking, how's that? You know, I didn't know anything about people chopping people's heads off. I didn't know anything about that because it wasn't being seen then. And then fast forward to ISIS and the Taliban and all those guru guys. And then I find out not too long after that, oh, there's 30,000 guillotines in the United States alone. 15,000 in Georgia at a military base and 15,000 in, I don't remember if it's Idaho at a military base. And some in trains, and I seen the trains, brand new stainless steel. No seats, just shackles and chains in them. And then I hear from Mike from around the world, now I don't know how true this is, but he said they just bought 208,000 more of them. Now, he's known things, and Paul Begley was called by the government. Who is this guy? He said, I promised him I would never know his whereabouts, and I would never tell his real name. So his real name might not even be Mike. But anyway. And the government agent says, well, he didn't do anything, tell anything classified, but he knows things that people don't know. How does he know? He told people when the volcano in Iceland was going to go off. And you know what? He gave a timeline of the first day and the last day. And I think it was on that last day it went off. And he said people would disappear. In the government, you'll see people that are famous people even just disappeared. Other people will replace them. What's happening right now? And I heard all this stuff like 2-3 years ago. What's happening right now, folks? I heard there would be baseball and softball in large hail, like they had grapefruit-sized hail in Texas not too awful long ago. I heard that was coming 2-3 years ago. And you know what else is coming? 200-300 mile an hour sustained winds. We're talking constant winds at certain times. Folks, your house can't stand that. So when I want somebody to come and live in an in-ground house with me, with no water, no running water, and right now I'm very, very low on water. No sewer system per se, compost everything. No windows because it's in the ground and nobody can peek in. And the only way to come in is if they're not invited and they're going to harm people, they better either be sent by Jesus or ready to meet him. But still, I still might have to die for my faith. Are you ready for that? Are you willing to do that? Because I'm not so sure about me either. I'm having a frank talk with you folks. And this is what's next. And you better get ready for it. and you may escape it. Jesus said, what? Pray that you're accounted worthy to escape these things. They're not going to take us, Jesus is not going to take us out of here. He prayed for his disciples not to be taken out of the world, but to endure it. And he will hide us, but some of us will be martyred. Some of us, maybe many of us, will have to walk to the guillotine. Folks, get ready for it. There's more. Keep watching and pray. Pray like your life depends on it, because it does.
Earth, do not speak back. You will listen. I am not here to reason with you. I am not here to persuade you. I am not here to explain myself. I am here to judge you. I formed you clean. I gave you order. I gave you balance. And you chose corruption. You opened yourself to violence and never closed again. You swallowed blood and asked for more. You hid murder beneath cities. You buried bones beneath wealth. You laid lies on top of truth. Until you could no longer tell the difference. But I could. I set my people apart. I marked them. I placed covenant on them before you ever had a name. And you made them pray. You chased them, you broke them, you enslaved them, you scattered them. You packed them into ships and counted them as inventory. You worked them until they died. You sold their children. You erased their fathers. You exhausted their mothers. And you called it progress. Earth. You knew exactly who they were. My name rested on them. You knew my breath moved in them. And still you chose profit. Still you chose power. Still you chose domination. You built empires on their backs. You built economies on their wounds. You built comfort on their suffering. Demanded gratitude. You told them to forget. You told them to submit. You told them to smile. You beat identity out of them and punished them for surviving. You renamed them and then blamed them for wearing the names you gave. Mock their faith. You distorted my word. You preached lies in my name and called it righteousness. Earth, your hands drip. Your soil remembers. Your rivers remember. Your walls remember. Soaked with evidence. I sent warnings, you hardened yourselves. I sent signs, you laughed. I sent truth, you buried it. I delayed judgment, and you grew bolder. perfected oppression. You refined cruelty. You made wickedness efficient. You crowned thieves. You protected predators. You silenced the righteous. And you told yourselves you were advanced. No. You are exposed. Now the ground opens because it is finished holding you. Now the seas rise because they are finished carrying your waste. Now the skies darken because the measure is full. Do not call this disaster. Do not call this chance. Do not call this nature. This is sentencing. I am dismantling your systems. I am stripping your authority. I am collapsing what you trusted. Your markets will fail. Your armies will scatter. Your borders will not save you. Your titles will mean nothing. Your excuses will be ignored. Your prayers will not interrupt this moment. You had time, you wasted it. You had mercy, you mocked it. You had truth, you rejected it. Now you will have judgment. What you buried will rise against you. What you stole will be reclaimed without permission. What you tried to erase will stand while you fall. You will not rename my people again. You will not chain them again. You will not scatter them again. I am gathering them. I am marking them. I am restoring what you tried to destroy. And you will watch. Earth, you are guilty. There will be no appeal. There will be no delay. There will be no misunderstanding. This is not cruelty. This is exact. I am young. And this time, I am not waiting.
Long walk to the guillotine, crowds chanting, ooh, what a scene. Too late to apologize, you did the crime, now you gotta pay with your life. Take a long walk to the guillotine, crowds chanting, ooh, what a scene. Too late to apologize, you did the crime, now you gotta pay with your life.
Denounce your faith in Yeshua.
Long walk to the guillotine.
No.
Crowds chanting. Ooh, what a scene. Too late to apologize.